Okay, so this is a blog that was, I guess, written at about 65 hours post-op, so not quite 3 days post-op. Um, I was really scared and nervous going in, that whole not having any control thing, being knocked out, being left completely in the hands of other people. And I was worried about all the different things that could go wrong. I was shaking, that's how scared I was. But my anesthetists and nurses in the OR were really sweet and made me feel more at ease. After Dr. DeHaas, my surgeon, marked me, I was given some medication via IV to calm down. After that, I don't actually remember anything. I don't remember being given the anesthetic at all. And when I first woke up, I actually thought the surgery was just starting. I didn't realize many hours had passed or that I'd already had the surgery. So I was like coming to, and there was an oxygen mask on my face, and that was kind of strange because, you don't normally wake up with an oxygen mask on your face. And it took me a minute or two, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? Are we going to start? And then, patting around and like, okay, wow, I felt like this big bandage there and realized that I don't have a pair of E-cups sitting there anymore, and I was a little sore and feeling really nauseated, and I realized the surgery had already happened. And then I pretty much needed to ask for a bucket right away because anesthetic wreaks havoc on my stomach. The male nurses that I had in the recovery room were pretty awesome. They even noticed my lips were chapped and rubbed some Vaseline on them. So that was pretty cool. They were very attentive and sympathetic, and which is more than I could say for the first nurse I got when I was finally given a room. I was less than 2 hours post-op, totally disoriented, dizzy, nauseated, pale, and sickly, and she made me walk from the gurney to my bed. You'll see in the clip that I put on this video as well, that how pale and sick I looked. But she made me walk from the gurney to my bed, and then later on, when I was feeling even more sick, throwing up like crazy, and was sweating really bad, she hardly paid any attention to me. I would go long periods of time without seeing her at all. I tried buzzing and buzzing for this nurse, but she almost never came, and that sucked. I was all alone for a while until Nanny arrived, and at one point I told her I felt too hot, and she didn't bother taking my temperature. All she did was put a cloth by the sink, which was several feet away from me, and tell me to go and wet it with cold water and stick it on my forehead. I couldn't believe it. It was just a couple hours post-op, and she wanted me to get up and wet my own cloth for my forehead. Every time I managed to get her into the room and asked something of her, she would act like it was some huge chore, and then she'd rush through it. Maybe she was busy, but this was ridiculous. I needed to be looked after. She's a nurse. That's her job. When a patient is uncomfortable, needs something, isn't feeling well, the nurse is supposed to tend to them. She just acted like, how dare I ask that of her? Oh well. Sorry for the mini rant. The nurse I had at night was much better anyways. So the anesthetic wreaked havoc on my stomach, and for several hours I couldn't keep any fluids down, even when given Gravol. I didn't even attempt to eat any solids or take any pain meds for quite a while. I wasn't in much pain at first anyway, probably because of the local anesthetic that they put in my chest. So I was able to go without pain medication for a while anyways, but eventually I felt the pain. The drains made it feel like my insides were being pulled out. And around 10 p.m. or so, my night nurse gave me a large dose of Gravol and some morphine in the IV. Then I slowly worked my way up from water to other fluids, and then finally solids. Since I had to stop eating since I had to stop eating at 10 p.m. the night before, it had been more than 24 hours since the last time I had eaten before that. After that, the nausea and vomiting didn't really return at that point anyway, like in that particular day. It came back in the later days and recently, but that's a completely different story. I was switched to oral painkillers in the morning because I was going to be discharged later that day, and they wanted to make sure I was on a medication that I could take on my own. Yeah, they only keep you for one night at this particular hospital or in this particular part of Canada. My surgeon came to see me in the morning, and he took my bandage off and to take a look at my chest to see if everything was healing up okay, and it looked amazing. My nipples were perfectly symmetrical, and the incisions were even and nicely rounded, just like I wanted, not just the straight lines across or one straight line. I kind of don't like that very much. There's a bit of puckering, and he did leave some of the fat in, but that's okay, just the fat, no breast tissue. He proportioned my pecs perfectly to my already chubby body, and he explained that as I lose weight and build muscle, they will follow suit. So at this point, I was saying I'm still in a bit of pain still, but no complications so far at all. I've been on antibiotics since right after surgery, now taking them orally, so I think that's helping. No infections that I know of, no hematomas, no seromas. That ended up holding. I didn't end up getting any of that complication stuff at all, any of those complications at all. Sorry, it's really late at night right now, 3:30 in the morning. Hopefully none of that will happen at all. I said I've been doing everything according to the book, taking my pain meds and antibiotics on time, emptying my drains and keeping track of the amount of fluid that comes out, and keeping my incisions and nipple sponges covered and dry. I get my drains out in a week, and I think that's when my nipples get assessed as well. I'm excited to see what they look like under the nipple sponges. I took some pictures last night, blah blah blah. Okay, so while I've already made the post-op, getting the drains out video, as well as like the nipple sponges, the steri strips, all that stuff. I've made a video of me getting all that stuff removed 2 weeks post-op, so that'll probably be in a video following this one. So, and I will add these pictures to the video if I can. So yeah, I guess that's it for the first 24 hours or so, just over that, I guess.